I'm 94 years old, and every night at 5:30, I set 2 plates on this table, one for me, one for my husband, George. George died 6 years ago. I know he's dead. I was there. I held him. I watched him take him out of this house in a bag. And I stood on the porch and watched the ambulance drive away until I couldn't see the lights anymore. And then I stood there for another hour because I didn't know what to do next. I didn't know what the first minute of the rest of my life without George was supposed to look like. I set 2 plates. I know he's not coming. I set them anyway. My daughter thinks I'm losing my mind. She brings it up every visit. Mom, you're setting 2 plates again. She says it gently, like she's talking to a child. And I let her think what she thinks, because explaining it would require me to open a door that I keep closed most of the day. And if I open it during the day, I won't be able to function. I open it at 5:30 when I set the plates. Here's why I do it. George and I ate dinner together every night for 61 years. Every night. 61 years. That's 22,265 dinners, give or take. I didn't count. But the math is the math. Every single one of those dinners started the same way. I'd set the table. He'd come in from wherever he was, the shop, the yard, the television. He'd wash his hands at the kitchen sink. He'd dry them on the towel that hung from the oven handle, always the same towel spot. There's a permanent stain on that towel from 61 years of George drying his hands in the same spot. I haven't washed that towel. I won't. He'd sit down right there, that chair, and he'd look at the food and he'd say the same thing every night, every single night for 61 years. He'd say, "Well, Ruthie, what do we got?" "Well, Ruthie, what do we got?" 22,000 times the same sentence, and it never got old. Not once, because it wasn't about the food. It was about the we. What do we got? We, us, this table, this meal, this ordinary Tuesday night with this ordinary food and this ordinary woman and this ordinary man who chose to sit across from her 22,000 times and act like it was the first time every time. When George died, the silence at 5:30 was the thing that nearly killed me. Not the sleeping alone, not the empty chair in the living room, not the closet full of his clothes. The silence at 5:30, the moment when I sat down at this table and nobody said, "Well, Ruthie, what do we got?" That silence was so loud it made my ears ring. My ears literally rang from the absence of his voice. The doctor said it was tinnitus. It wasn't tinnitus, it was grief. Grief is a sound, a high-pitched ringing, where a voice used to be. I stopped eating. After he died, I stopped eating for 11 days. Not on purpose, not a decision. I just couldn't sit at this table with one plate. One plate meant he was gone. One plate meant this was real. One plate meant the rest of my life would be spent in this chair, looking at an empty chair and hearing ringing where his voice should be. On day 12, my body made me eat. I was dizzy. I was weak. I hadn't showered. I was wearing the same house dress I'd worn to the hospital. I shuffled to the kitchen and I opened the cabinet and I took out a plate and my hand went back in. Automatically. Muscle memory, 61 years of reaching for 2 plates. My hand took the second one before my brain could stop it. I set them both down. One here, one there. And I looked at his plate and I said out loud, "Well, George, what do we got?" And I ate. For the first time in 11 days, I ate. Because 2 plates meant he was still here. Not literally, I'm not crazy. I know the chair is empty. I know the food on his plate goes back in the refrigerator untouched. I know. But 2 plates means the ritual survives. 2 plates means this table is still ours. 2 plates means I'm not eating alone. I'm eating with the memory of a man who sat here 22,000 times and never once took it for granted. People don't understand what it means to lose someone after 61 years. They think it's like losing a spouse. It's not. It's like losing a limb. No. It's like losing a language. The language you spoke every day with only one other person on earth. A language made of inside jokes and shared memories and sounds that meant specific things. The way he cleared his throat when he was about to say something serious. The way he tapped the table twice when the food was good. The specific whistle he did when he came through the door. A whole vocabulary that existed only between 2 people. And when one of them dies, the language dies. And you're the last living speaker of a dead language. And there's nobody left to talk to in it. I said 2 plates because it's the only sentence I have left in that language. The act of setting his plate is me saying, "George, you were here. This was real. We were real." And I will keep speaking this language, even if I'm the only one who hears it. I put food on his plate too. Whatever I'm having. Tonight it's soup and bread. His plate has soup and bread. I eat mine, his sits there. After dinner, I cover his plate and put it in the refrigerator. The next day, I eat it for lunch. Practical. I'm not wasting food. George would have hated that. He grew up poor. You don't waste food. So technically, George is still feeding me. The food I put on his plate becomes my lunch. He's still taking care of me. One day later, the way he always did. Just a little slower now. My son understands. He doesn't say anything about the 2 plates. He came for dinner last month, and he sat in a different chair. Not George's chair, a different one. He pulled one from the kitchen. He said, "That's Dad's seat." He's 63 years old, and he won't sit in his father's chair because he knows that chair is occupied not by a body, by 61 years of, well, Ruthie, what do we got? I'm 94. I won't be here much longer. And when I die, my daughter will clean this house. She'll pack the dishes. She'll wash the towel with the stain. She'll take down the cuckoo clock. She'll make this house someone else's house. But for now, tonight, at 5:30, this house is still ours. 2 plates, 2 forks, 2 napkins, 2 glasses of water, and me looking at his chair, saying the words, "Well, George, what do we got? Soup and bread, George. Soup and bread. Same as always. Same as always."